Greetings and salutations. I don't know if I can be heard, but if I can, chalk up the deuces. And if I can't, then, you know, we're going to do the lip reading thing again. But it ain't going to be like Space Odyssey from the side. We can't do that. But nonetheless, we're going to make it do what it do. Peace. I'm a Ross Kush. And peace to the Chief. And peace. Akira. Yeah. And peace to everybody else. I don't know if this thing is working or not. I see numbers jumping up and down. Master Menelec, peace to you. Can you hear me, Master Menelec, or no? I don't know if you can hear me. May I be heard? Somebody let me know. If I can, we can see and hear you, brother. All right, cool. Let's get it on then, huh? Once again, my colleague, bless his heart. Yeah, bless his heart. He'll be here when he gets here. We're going to jump in, though. We're going to read the preface, and then we're going to start moving and grooving. So this book is not to be read only once. Read the words of this book of knowledge and wisdom out loud. Discuss the convictions of this work with your Anu brothers and sisters. Share this information with your people, with your people. This publication should be read daily. It's always interesting when somebody says that, yeah, I got that, and they're ready to move on. Like, do you really have it? And even if you got it, you go back and you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then it'll start to speak to you in a different way than the first time you had it, because you're supposed to be learning on a day in and day out basis. But when one gets arrogant and egotistical, then they feel like they can move on. Every line in this book can be taken out of context and studied on the strength of its own potential. The truth is to be deliberated. All right. Peace, Emma Precious. Peace, Alba Cruz. Peace, shalom to everybody that is in the space and everybody that will be moving into this space. Shalom, Emma Aquia. And yeah. All right, so let me go start to jump in to the reading. So at the beginning, it says a business authenticates itself by the hiring of other people. Before I jump into that, tell me what you think that means. A business authenticates itself by the hiring of other people. When you hear that line, you say, how does it authenticate itself by the hiring of other people? What's the first thing that comes to your mind or your brain? Or, some of y'all are woke. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear a business authenticates itself by the hiring of other people? Yeah. Right. Let's see what we got. Chief, here we go. Let's get it in. Huh? Truth is to be deliberated. Does that mean we take liberty from the truth? Well, there's an old video that you have. It says pop quiz. What's the difference between liberty and freedom? Yeah. So I'm gonna wait till some of y'all answer that in the chat, and then we'll jump into that. Does that mean we take liberty from the truth? What do y'all think? Do we take liberty from the truth? Yes or no? Truth is to be deliberated. So can you take liberty from truth? If you're deliberating, I'm gonna give it a go. Let's give it a stab, huh? And like, man, about to jump across the building. Here we go. If you're deliberating, then the assumption would be that everybody would be free because now it's not injecting opinion um, of one and their own thoughts. So now it's just deliberating on where one is at and where one can go. So does that mean we can take liberty from truth? I would say yes. I would say yes. Doesn't mean that it's right because the liberty only exists within the body. So now, can the whoa? Does that mean we take liberty from truth? You can, you can. Yes, you can. I would say you can. Watch me. I'm working this out right here live. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. But y'all feel free to be shy and not answer it in the chat. I see y'all. Nobody wants to be wrong. I got you. I see you. All right. All right. So Emma Precious says, by being able to employ others, you validate a hobby from a business. Boom. All right. I want to move on, but I want to kind of get this out the way before I move on. Emma Precious says, yes, there we go. Emma Precious keyboard is the only one that's working here today. So shouts out to Emma Precious keyboard. Good night. Everybody else just going for the ride. I got you. Oh, man. Says, yes, we take liberty from the truth by way of examination, exploration, and discourse. Good night. Thank you, Emma Precious. Man, let's go. Everybody else, just say your niceties and move on today. All right. And make sure this. Akilo,
Hey, what's up?
can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
Here we go. All right. So one of the things that we just were discussing before you were fashionably late, and I was just winging it, and you coming from your game or wait, having a good time. Don't worry about it. Um, Chief has said the truth is to be deliberated. Okay, so maybe you could just jump right in and answer this for us before we can move on.
Um, well, I mean, do we take liberty from the truth? I mean, it's to be uh talked about. I think, but you just can't take liberties, that wasn't given. I mean, that's just like why would you take, liberties, or certain liberties that don't belong to you? Does the truth belong to you? Or if that's the say, if that's the case, then why do you call it your truth? Is that not taking liberty with the truth by calling it your truth?
Well, doesn't somebody who say it's my truth undermining the truth?
Man, it's just it's just one big, you know, crazy cyclone, Um, but it is
All right.
undermining the truth, because it's taking ego, you know, by even with the word saying my truth, you know, or your truth. There has to be some ego with it. And as far as I know, truth don't have ego. It's just there.
Okay. All right. We knew you was gonna have a good answer because you was going to get it. and that's why you were a little late. So he was gonna come with that answer, y'all. All right, so we only got three people. There's a couple people here that only wanted to greet everybody, but there's only three people that are actually participating. Chief is asking questions. Emma Precious is her keyboard is the only one that works, and Master Menelec finally jumped in. So we're gonna rock with those three, and everybody else is just going to sit back and let everybody else do the work. So that's how we rocking today.
Mm-hmm.
Business, huh? Yeah. All right. Let's do the business. So let's get back into it, shall we?
For sure.
I need to figure out where this thing is. All right, cool. So I asked, a business authenticates itself in the beginning of the reading by the hiring of other people, and I was just asking what comes to mind when you hear that, Akibo? There's a business authenticates itself by the hiring of other people. What comes to mind when you hear that?
I think of I think of many things. I think of those businesses that um have authenticated themselves by. You ever watch them dang on like car commercials, and then they show the workers on the assembly line or something like that, and then they be like, we pride ourselves on being part of a big family or something like that. Then they show the car. you know
Yeah.
that's sort of one example I can think of how a business authenticates itself, or at least tries to give the guise of authenticating itself by showing that we hire people, we hire everyday average Joe's American to build these cars or whatever, or whatever product they do. um but I also thought of you know uh a business authenticating itself by just putting people to work, and um basically putting people on, especially in your own community, or within your own culture, you know. Um, like I think I've said it more. You hear people say we do it for the culture, but they don't have no businesses that authenticate themselves to where they hire people that look like them that's within their culture. You know.
Does that matter? By trying to hire people who look like you? Is that really a big deal?
I mean, no, but that's why I said within your culture.
Does that matter?
Does that
Hiring people
matter?
within your culture.
I mean, if you trying to build communal wealth, I would probably say so. Because look who's taking it out. You can look. You can hire whoever you want to hire. Um, it's just a thought. You know. But if you looking for the best person to do the job, you're looking for the best person to do the job. But do everybody else work like that? Any other outside cultures work like that? Like that. Can
I
you go to?
mean, if when I look up and people it don't look like we in the same culture where I go to work at.
True.
So do they? And then I would say yes, they do. I think it's one of those. What's that dude's name, man? It's his last name's like some baby food or something. He
Gerber?
be doing all these like business lectures and stuff. Oh my goodness.
You said baby food. No one
It's
thing
like
was
a
Gerber baby food.
whatever. All right. The guy though, he has like these different tiers though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's he talks about the entrepreneur, he talks about a manager, and he talks about the technician. Right? And he says, a lot of people go into business as a technician or as the worker or as the person who's doing it all because they feel like they can put everything together. And in that sense, they start to burn themselves out because they're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sense, you have to come in doing everything in order to help cut costs. But at the same time, It's one who starts to develop structures, like who implements certain things that can get done. So it doesn't matter who the person is that's coming in at the bottom, it can still be able to get done, right? So now
Right.
you're being able to remove yourself, not working in it, but you're able to work on it in a sense. Um, and I don't think, and even if we look at the movie The Founder, have you seen that movie?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you remember when they was in there and they was all going like, okay, this is the different ways that this assembly line should be put together of how the burger should go and the fries should
Mm-hmm.
go and all of that to make everything efficient. So now it don't matter who you bring in there or who wants to now get disgruntled or who wants to flip the middle finger at you. I'm gonna just go ahead and bring somebody else in here because it's not necessarily the person that you're paying for, somebody in your culture or somebody in this. It's just the body, and I can put any body in this position, and then now all of a sudden they'll flourish and move forward. So now it's not in the sense of it's a headache of okay, I'm gonna go do something else, and now I'm trying to pay somebody who's in my culture who's gonna think exactly like I'm thinking. I don't need you to think. Only thing I need you to do is follow the structure.
Yeah, but even in that example, Zach, you had a guy who saw the potential of that business model and that business, and he took it from the original business owners, but then he expanded on it way more than they even thought possible, and even took their family name. I'm gonna take your family name too. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So I mean, and hey, you know, but I mean, it. I guess my thought was did they have the um interest of that said business in their mind, or willing to further that business venture, because you have people that don't look at you at your job, but yet they furthering somebody else's plan and business, making them rich. So I mean, I don't I
Right
don't know.
now, I
Someday.
think now we still talking about though the ability to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
So some people have a greater ability to step out and say, you know what, this is gonna be might fail once, this might fail twice, this might fail three times, but I think if I keep at it, then it will actually make it. Whereas some people they might have that whole analysis paralysis piece where they might be very smart, they might be very good at what they do, but then they just over analyzing something to the point where now what, I'm not going to take that risk because I might lose this all, or I might lose something, the status, or I might lose my ability to navigate, what, I don't know, whatever the case may be. But now, so then they stay stuck, and because now they are there, then they could start to make up all of these things of why the system is holding them down, of why this ain't working. But like, are you
Mm-hmm.
willing to take that risk? And I also think even when it says, he did take the name, he did, but some people, there's an entrepreneur that is now going to have a vision. And the vision is this is how we're going to expand so that therefore we don't stay stagnant of still trying to, you know, things are moving to maybe a crypto thing, but I'm still trying to use, change
Right.
and coins and all of this other thing to make sure I pay. But now, do you see what's coming 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now where you can start to expand and then start to roll that into your business, as opposed to just being on the ground level and just trying to make everything work on a day in and day out basis and ultimately burning yourself out? I even think I heard Chief say this one time, is saying that if you are the person where you have to be there on a day in and day out basis to open that thing up, to make sure that it closes, and you keep doing this, you don't own a business, you own a job, right? And
Right.
now we start to mix those two by saying, oh, yeah, I'm a business owner, but can you step away from that business? Is the
And
question.
then function.
Right. And that's now ultimately where those systems come in play.
Yeah, and
But
I think, well, it the way you said it was all gonna lead up to the next citizens. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, well, one. you got to have vision, vision. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't
Right.
have no vision of expansion, or just expanding the the business. Which it was able to it was able to be done with. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody else saw it, but so yeah. To be a I would say a real business owner, you have to hire someone and then hire someone that they can open up, so you won't have to open and close. They can do it. Frees
Right.
up more of your time. You know what I'm talking about? Um, I mean, no business, starts off big or whatever and stuff. It takes time, or it takes time to get to, big boy status, you know what I'm talking about, to be, a captain of industry, you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, in order to solidify and I would say bring that foundation, you have to have the plan to say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna probably do the grunt work, for this amount of time, but then I'm gonna bring, more people in so they can do the grunt work, and I could just, get back to planning and operations or whatever, you know.
So what would you say then when you say that somebody has to have the vision? What do you think the biggest issue then is with people? Do they just not have the vision? Do they only see themselves as workers, or what would you say the problem is then?
I would say um the problem probably is that they don't see themselves as visionaries, within their own business, or probably even in their own lives. They don't. Some people don't see past, or see farther than the present. You know, some people don't see 5, 10, 15 years. You know, um, so some people don't plan um past today, or they don't plan, or anything like that, I would say. But or they're probably only trustworthy of themselves, so they'll just, do all the work because they don't trust nobody. They don't trust nobody to do it, like, oh, probably do it how they would do it, which probably can show a bit of ego, how you want something done, and you probably don't trust nobody to do it like you would do it, or they probably do it better than you. you know it probably be a humbling factor there, where they'll probably say, oh, you don't have to do it like this, you can do it like this. You know what I'm saying? But you probably want them to do it the way I taught you,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take it to the Chizat. Yeah, okay. Some people found their keyboards today. So let's see what we got in here. Said Master Mendelek says deliberation. Are we this going back to the beginning? Deliberation is slowing down or removing whimsical responses with no basis, making sure you're right before moving on. But does that answer the question though? I don't know. You tell me. Hey, hold on. Let me make sure I got that question right. Uh Here we go. Truth is to be deliberated. Does that mean we take liberty from the truth? Right? And then it's my brother, so he all right. Deliberation is slowing down or removing whimsical responses with no basis, making sure you are right before moving on. So what you saying, brother? Yes or no? All right. Shalom, Akoti Ditra. Chief says a business is an organization by design, and organizations have structure and its own personages.
Mhm.
But, and Makuya says it makes me think of showing that it's growing successful. It shows you can maintain yourself and others because you can afford to employ them to sustain themselves. With Emanaya. All right, here you go. You tell me what you think. It says, Emma Quia says, I think we should hire within our culture, but I also keep in mind they aren't remaining an employee, so I would hire outside of my culture. What you saying? All right. Okay. Master Benelec says a business is also supposed to run on its own without needing the founder to be present. Hiring others can also bring stability to a community. We give them something to do. And it'll probably, they do say it might even inspire one to say that this is what they want to do, because a lot of people go into business for themselves because they are working somewhere that they say, you know what, I can do this on my own. So it may even jumpstart a thought, something of that nature. Sovereign Eat says, all I heard was the last name, baby. Yeah, it was here. Thank you, Emma Precious. Michael Gerber. That's that dude's name. The email. There you go. Uh-oh. I don't know what just happened. I just lost everything. Hold on. Okay, here we go. We back in the game. Hiring others, building a team. Hiring others is building a team. Like a family, it consists of multiple team members to maintain the movement. In order for the business to grow, it must have its foundation covered. The structure. Like you gotta have that structure in place. This is what we did. Thank you, Emma Precious. I know I had it. It was baby food name indeed. Brother DL says authenticate, prove or show something especially a claim or an artistic work to be true or genuine. All right. How long is too long to be doing the grunt work? Or does it depend on the vision? What you got, Akilo? How long is too long to be doing the grunt work? I don't say the grunt work ever stops. Now, if one is just continuously like you're the one that has to open, you're the one that has to close, it's not going to work because it's not going to be able to expand. Your whole thing is you want to be able to remove yourself from it so that therefore you can show up and then try to expand that. So one company can expand to multiple companies. Not as and you can't be in multiple locations at once, but that structure and that framework can be in multiple locations at once. That idea and that thought and that vision can be in multiple locations at once. So I think it's just a matter of this, like you said, even going back to that founder, some just saw, I only want to do this one. And then if somebody else had a whole, these can be put everywhere, man. Like all you got to do, you got the structure, you got what it needs and what it takes. Let's start to move that. So it just depends, I think, on, like Chief has always said, water seeks its own level. What level are you aspiring to? Some people, that's all they see is grunt work. Well, then that's all you can do. But that's not, as we read on, you start to see that it's a little different. So what do you think, Akilo? You got anything you want to add to that?
I would say, the length of time depends on your training practices. Once you get somebody trained up, you should be able to, ease a little bit back. Ease a little, because it's like it's like when you train your kids to do something, wash dishes, whatever. You ease yourself a little bit back. You don't keep on stepping in like, let me do it, because then they'll get frustrated. Like, you don't get away from me. Let me do this. You just ease a little bit back, and you just be an observer. Observe how they work under the standard that you've put in place, and then see what probably how creative they can become with it, just like you were talking about. Somebody saw something different, or saw something that those brothers didn't see, but they created a standard or a mechanized machine that somebody, was able to further, um farther than they thought, you know what I'm saying? And then when they tried to do it again, because they lost it. When they tried to do it again, didn't work. Didn't work like like it did, Um so I would say, the length comes the length of time depends on that person and the structure that they put in place. Because maybe the grunt work now is tweaking the structure so it can work more efficiently. Not actually doing the labor, but actually putting your labor into the structure itself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or the standard of practice. You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. What you just said is how do you start looking at what you call grunt work? Because grunt work could be one that could look at that and say, sitting down at this desk and trying to put these ideas to paper, and just documenting every step of the process, so that therefore it can be laid out in the structures. I mean, so one could look at that and be like, this is tedious, this is grunt work, because then once it's done, then yeah, you can move on and do something else. Yeah, it just depends on where one is. MGC Randy says, true, Aki Low, it takes diligence and determination to overcome adversity to get to where one wants to be. And Maquia says, some people don't trust others to carry out the work of a business, so they want to manage and be the laborer, and they want to burn themselves out. It's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as an entrepreneur, the plan for grunt work handoff should be in place from the beginning. In my best Sovereign Eats voice. This is
This
true.
is true.
This is true. Oh man. Alba Cruz says no liberties to confirm truth. One should be a skeptic. All right. We got Alexandria Grice. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
I ain't never seen that name. Hey, all right. Man, this thing did it again. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. The Sovereignty says that would give the business owner time to strategize, focus on the flow of procedures, which makes it possible to employ others because there is a process in place. Albert Cruz says once skepticism is approached from multiple viewpoints, truth is obtained. All right. I'm a little lost. All right, Master Midlock says, I was saying I don't think we're, let's see. Master Midlock says, I was saying I don't think we are taking liberty from the truth. Like in the segment you mentioned earlier, Zach, liberty is doing what you want. So it was no to the question. I got you. All right, cool. And then Albert Cruz says 7-year mark for extreme hustle, and saving. Hire who is needed for specific skills to assist with you may not have as a specialty. Because you can't, that's in that Think and Grow Rich. And one of the things that he talks about even in Think and Grow Rich is just talking about getting other people. One thing that some people get caught up in is I need to learn this and I need to learn that. You can't do everything. You're not going to learn everything. Get somebody
Mm-hmm.
else in there who is efficient in different aspects, so that therefore you can lean on them. That's why one of the greatest things that one can ever achieve, in my humble view, is wise counsel. Like to be able to pull on somebody in different areas to get, oh, okay, yeah, let's deliberate on certain aspects, but now they have different views on and different specialties that they bring to the table, so that therefore now one can have a better view when they start to move forward in whatever it is that they need to do. But trying to cram, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. No, I mean, you're just gonna burn yourself out, and it's not gonna work out in the long run. So, did you want to add anything before I read on to the next section, Akilo?
I would say you burn yourself out, but also you want you sort of want people that volunteer and that see themselves within dynamic of the company, you know what I'm saying, that want to work with you. Because you brought up Think and Grow Rich, and I remember one part I read where what one of the guys or a scientist, I forget which scientist, he wanted to work with Edison, and Nathaniel brought up the difference of he didn't want to work for him, he wanted to work with him. If that was the difference, some people don't want to work for somebody, they just want to work with them to because they see that probably that dream or that business, they having a stake in it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see some people that buy stock in the company they work for. You know what I'm saying? Because they know it, or they want to, further along that they trust it or whatever, you know, as opposed to just buying or investing in business you don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? Or you don't really frequent. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got, bro.
When you say, it's interesting what you just said. When I don't want to work for you, I want to work with you. Does that not become a challenge or a hurdle for somebody? Because what qualifies you to work with somebody as opposed to working for them?
Then I probably then I want to say, but then what qualifies for you to work for them? In that instance, because to me, it's like, you know, I'm not looking at this as as do you have the quality? It's about, do you have the drive to do the work, or do you have the even the quality to want to do, to work with that person. It's you can work for somebody and not like them, or you can work with them and further what they're trying to build on. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, how many people work for somebody and they don't like them and they don't like what they're doing? But if you work with somebody, are you can you can you say that you're actually laboring in a sense to where you're burning yourself out, or you're furthering something that you actually staking a claim in? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, um, building. Okay, it's like founding the dang on city. Why I want to, yeah, founding the dang on city. You know what I'm saying? Some people, it's not going to be built overnight, but you probably, find people that believe in what you're trying to do, and then what they may talk, give you supplies to found the city, or give you money because they see the vision that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So, what came to mind as we was talking about this, honestly, was the city founding of New Orleans. Don't it was just in my head. It just kept on ringing in my head, like when Bienville was trying to found New Orleans and whatnot. But like, nothing's working. Nothing's working. They don't got
Hmm.
nothing built. Nothing is going according to plan. Meanwhile, the French government is excited by Biloxi. Like we gonna have this as the capital. Of the of the colonial land over there. You know what I'm saying? But nothing's working. But here you are. You find engineers and things that see what you're doing, and be like, I see y'all don't got nothing built here. So I'm gonna change the layout of this whole settlement. We gonna build this here. That's working with somebody. If you ask me, because there was more than one engineer there. But yeah, that's just what came to my head, man. Don't.
All right. So you got Albert Cruz says, "Are you referring to contracts?" Akilo. Here's what I would say, but wouldn't the contract, if somebody, you still
That's
would be
also
working
working
for.
for somebody.
That's what I'm saying. It would still be the same thing. Like, okay, yeah, now it just doesn't mean that you in it and you getting, a steady paycheck. Like, okay, I'm gonna contract you out for 6 months,
Mm,
and then after that, you go on. Okay, so for 6 months, I'm working for this company or I'm working for this person.
yeah, it's different than um like I say, having a claim. It's like you basically what you're saying is that you're just following what's in the black and white of that contract. You're not going to go further, you know, than what you are bound to by that contract. Ain't that what people do on their job? Like, look, I'm gonna do this, but I ain't putting in no extra work. You want me to put in some extra work, you better pay me. You know what I'm talking about. But when you're working with somebody, it it's not, to me, it's not contractual in that sense, you know, where you're just deemed by this and that clause and that clause and that clause. You know what I'm saying? You're sort of inspired to do more because you see more. You know what I'm saying? Even with, like you said, the movie The Founder, he wants he had, he our homie had his own, his own job. He was a salesman, but he saw what these guys was doing, or these brothers was doing in Cali, and he was like, I want to work with them because I see what they're doing, and I want to do what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's totally different. But then then you have them, oh, I see way more than they do, and now we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and then you bringing on people that see what you want to do, and then they want to they want to say, hey, you don't have to do it like that. You're attracting people. You know what I'm saying? You're attracting people to the business, or you're attracting people to the structure, to the vision, to the foundations. Maybe, does that make sense?
All right. I mean, let's see. They got Master Mendelek says construction I think he said construction comes to mind. The contractor is a business person who is being hired by a construction company who is hired by the client. And then Albert Cruz says we got contracts can be more service based. As a contractor, you can solicit business, but you still wouldn't be working with them because they can get rid of you. Like, okay, this ain't working. We ain't in this together. Like, I hired you to do a job or a service, and either you can do the service or you can't. When I first read the paragraph, I thought of a top down. I'm the boss, and all y'all work for me as salary workers. I mean, you could look at it, then that's like a dictatorship. Which the difference between, that's what I would look at is, you know, working with and working for. If you working with somebody, then that means we all sitting at the table, and if a decision is about to get made, then I'm going to
You
be
got to
put in
vote.
on that decision. Right. Now that's
You got to
working
vote.
with somebody. Now, if I don't have a vote in that, then you working for this person, because now whatever they says is going to be the last and final straw. And Maquia says, when you contract, if you are corporatized, then you aren't working for an employer. You're gonna have to elaborate. And then actually Ross says, can the be like a board member or a business partner? Can that be like a board member or a business partner? Working with somebody, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A board member, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right, did you want to add something?
No.
Before I go to the next one. All right, cool. It says, as founding entrepreneurs, we should not obsess ourselves with the technical labor of our ventures, but hire the craftsmen who are skilled in those areas. Now, that makes me think of that time when Chiefman says, he said, at some point in time, you're gonna have to be able to walk in some air conditioning, right? Like, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to articulate your ideas, to be able to now somehow navigate in certain spaces where you're able to get these ideas out and be able to form them to make them come to fruition. And that means that you're going to have to be educated. That means that you're going to have to know some things as opposed to just, you know what, I'm going to be out and about and I'm going to work, and I'm going to do the hard labor, which ultimately is shouldn't be where one would want to stay or be stuck at. Yeah, hold on. So I said, Chief said the truth is a W-2 employee is also a contractor. It all begins with a contract, which is why you sign new hire papers. And you working for it. Am I reading this correctly? You tell me, Akila.
You reading the same way I'm reading this song.
All right.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, like it says in here, you should not obsess ourselves with the technical labor of our ventures. And sometimes some people get so caught up into I have to be the person to put my hand to it. Like so, you know, some people just micromanage and not being able to step away from it and trust that the other people will take care of it. Which then now you just have to ask yourself, can you trust that system that you put in place? Because if that system is not in place where you haven't dependent on other people to use their own mental, then now you're going you're gonna have to pay them more. Because like you said, are you gonna pay me for that? Because I'm just gonna do the bare minimum of what you paying me for and nothing more and nothing less. But now if I'm asking you to now put your, bring your education and all your tools to the table and then start to expand this, well then now you're gonna pay me for that. And now can somebody put that system in place in order to step away from it? At least that's what I got from it. You got anything?
Man, it's solid. You know what I'm saying? That look is, I would say, when it comes to, everybody wants to do it all and you can't do it all. But you know what? Was interesting with that sentence. Why am I thinking of, Statue of Liberty? Bring me your poor, bring me your this, bring me your that, and I'll put I'll put them to work. Not caring about all that stuff. We gonna have a bunch of craftspeople, but if they don't, I'll still put them to work. And these dang gonna work out, whatever. But yeah. You should not be the crafts person in your business. You should be able to hire that out. You know what I'm saying? And let somebody else take over. And also one that's always updating that to that craft. You know what I'm saying? Because that craft can change over time. You know what I'm saying? Or have different rules. So you can't always be considered, the main tech person. You know what I'm saying?
Because then ultimately, which I think even then one has to start looking at that a little cutthroat. Because if you die, then that means everything dies with you. And if you look at it, you're gonna be 28 one day and then gone the next. Does that mean everything go with you, or can that be passed down from a generation to a generation?
Like Dr. John Henry Clark said, bury the man, continue to plan.
There you go.
Continue to plan, man. It can't be just one person doing and then it just end. But if you create the plan, then the plan is always there. All you got to do is just create tweaks, here and there as time goes on. That way, it's never obsolete. You know what I'm talking about? But if you're just relying on one person, we're all mortal, man. I mean, we found the fountain of youth for, El Dorado or something, or that Al Nur,
I like what you did there. I like what you did there.
we all gonna transition, but what doesn't transition is the plan or the foundations or the structure that you built. I mean, look at shoot. I mean, U.S. Steel, whatever. They still around. You know what I'm saying? What's another old company? There's a bunch of them too. Wells Fargo. Look at them.
Right.
Since they pride themselves on still having that. Especially when I worked downtown, they actually had a stagecoach in the Wells Fargo's building. Showing you where they came from. We used to be on stagecoaches, doing this, what I'm saying, or whatever. I'm talking about now. Look at me and skyscrapers, whatever. We came from stagecoaches to skyscrapers, whatever. But yeah, man. You gotta start off somewhere. But I mean, but even I would say a business has a type of evolution. Or it should. You know what I'm saying? Can't have the same old, same old.
All right. So Chief says the difference to explore would be staff versus employee versus contractor. The staff is used for support, and without it, we may not have the strength to move forward. Staff is not dismissed, but employees are.
Yeah. Like the Joint Chief of Staff. Yeah. Just add, who's gonna dismiss the, Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Interior, the Secretary, they're all staff.
But the staff can't be, you can't dismiss the staff?
I mean, you can, but I mean, look, you gotta go through procedure. Saying there's actual procedure.
But technically, isn't there a procedure?
But when it comes to an employee, you don't have that much procedure to fire or for an employee. Because letting go of staff, you may have to, it's like when people make, at least what my Bob used to talk about tenure. You know what I'm saying? In education, you know what I'm saying, and what you had to go through, to get tenure. But
all right. Okay. So Chief says when staff is being dismissed, a company is being dissolved. So it's like I don't have enough money to cover these, so we're gonna start getting rid of it and downsizing. I'm guessing.
Or it could be a merger. You know what I'm saying?
You get rid of people in a merger?
I mean, you can. Depends.
Now, I would say, though,
depends on staff and employee.
Even going back to a contractor, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
I would say, because I've seen mergers and they've let people go. Like, we're merging with this company and we got to let y'all go. But that's employee.
Right.
That ain't staff.
But even in that instance, don't they? You would look at and see if this person can be used in this merger. Like, okay, we have a space for you over here, and if I don't have a space for you because you did something totally different,
you select. But I mean, it depends. It depends. I wasn't at that. I wasn't at the higher up. I don't know. I was an employee. Yes, me. I was an employee.
So, and then now we look at this, even a contractor, then a contractor would, this is what I do. Now, you can bring me in and I'm going to do this job that you hired me to do, but it's not him coming in and then telling you how to do your job, or, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of this. I must do what I said I was going to do. Now, either you can fulfill that or you can't, but both of them still can be expended. Like, I can still, if I bring you in and you're not doing the job, I'm going to get rid of you from not doing the job because that would be a breach of a contract. but you still will be working for them. So I'm now working for this company. Because if you wasn't working for them, then that means that you were sitting on that board, making the decision to bring you in, and that would be working with. That would be my assessment on it. Doesn't
Well,
go ahead.
it's a lot, bro. But I mean, I don't know. When it comes to, well, when I think of contractors, think of this. Well, I actually think of this guy I used to I worked with downrange, and he was a contractor. You know what I'm talking about? If the computers didn't work, we go see him. you know.
Right.
Um, but they were getting paid way more than I was.
Oh, because it's more beneficial for
More
you
beneficial.
now to work for multiple people. Like, okay, I'm not just gonna sit up here and you put me on salary, and now ultimately one would start to lose money from just sitting on salary and saying, okay, I'm gonna have you on call, as opposed to me now setting my own prices, being my own contractor, and say, no, this is what you're gonna pay me to come in and do this. Now, if you can't figure it out, then that means you got somebody to figure it out for you, which therefore now you're setting your own standard of how you feel like this is what I'm worth, and you're not going to tell me what I'm worth. So
Mm-hmm.
either you want that problem solved or you don't want that problem solved. And now I'm able to move around, and not only I'll fix your problem, I can go over here and fix somebody else's problem, as opposed to you be putting on a salary, and then I'm fixing these problems, saving the company all bunches of a gazillion dollars of money, amounts of money, but I'm not seeing any benefits from that because I'm on salary, and that's just what I'm supposed to do. If that makes sense. If you walk with me. All right. So, Chief says, consider the word employ. When looking at employee, things we employ, we just make use of. When we employ someone or something, we unite it with the framework, staff we already have. Okay, so I'm employing this, but I can just get rid of it tomorrow. But the staff that I have here, that would be like the staff would almost be like the family, and an employee would be like a friend who is like, all right, friends come and they go. What you think? Am I? No.
Here I am, like, depends on your dang old type of friend. If it's an associate,
Okay, even
you
then,
can deploy an associate. What I'm talking about.
even then,
I
but
may
they
have
ain't.
my friends on my staff. I know what they can do. I know what they can't do. You know what I'm saying? I know where they good. Where I can put them in position of. You know what I'm saying? But an associate, yeah, I'll give you a salary. But anytime you do something you ain't supposed to, I'm Xing you. I mean not X my dang on staff. You know what I'm talking about?
Because staff is more in your immediate circle.
Yeah.
So they would be closer to family more than they would be. I'm just like giving it different rings that one would try to, get closer to the center. And I would say that a friend would be outside of family, even though sometimes some people take that the wrong way, and friends can be more beneficial than family. But just walk with me with what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Just walk with me what I'm trying to
Because
make
you
sense
can
of.
say they be close to families. Like, oh
It
no, I
can
wouldn't
be.
be
It
close to
can be.
there go family. You say, no, you can't come here. But yeah.
All right. All right. So Abu Cruz says the working with mindset is what the 14 keys calls collective work. She says we have contract employees, but never contract staff because they're more closer to the center. I'm,
Well,
you know,
think about this from a executive governmental executive branch, right? Okay. Um, Staff like Secretary of State, they're selected. You know what I'm saying? They're not you interview. or even think about your judiciary, Supreme Court, they're sort of interviewed, by, can you really call it? That's a confirmation. That ain't no, but it seems like a thing, an interview, but it's just a confirmation where you ask a bunch of questions, but they're selected, staff is like selected. You already know what they can do, and you like, I want them working right here. You know what I'm saying? Whereas you don't contract, it's like, okay, well, nah, I can't use that. I can't use sports because that's an employee.
Come with it.
That's an employee. That's an employee. I can't use that. But okay, if we did go with sports, okay, your coach selects, like defensive coach, offensive coach. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? But employees, like players, I mean, does that work? Don't work?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Like, players are more contracted because you can just get rid of them. Like, but a coach, that's more connected to the inner framework. It'd be like a GM.
Yeah, like who's gonna like how you gonna get rid of like Nick Saban? How you gonna get rid of him? How you gonna
right? Because he's more connected to the whole organization, as opposed to a player who would just come in, do your thing, and then I'm gonna just replace you with somebody else.
Free agency, bam. That's free agency, all that good stuff.
All right, so Chief says salary for an employee is always more insidiously personal than a contractor's wage. Sal Array. Salary.
Sal Array.
Came from the pay that was once given to soldiers so that they could purchase salt. Sal. Smart. Korea says
salt was a good resource, back in them days. Well,
wasn't that a medium of exchange before money?
In some cultures, yeah.
The trade of salt. Okay, I see what is contract employees.
Just like rice. Just like rice.
Travel nurse working for the company were considered staff. She says spinal cord is inside and central. Staff is support staff. Something exists that requires something else, maybe external, to sustain it. All right. We walking. I think that's what I was trying to say. I think we was close. Yeah, he said, man, athletes are some of the greatest examples of wage employees, almost to the level of serfdom. They are truly owned. Yeah, I mean, because they're expendable. Gone, you move them like you move a deck of cards. Next, right? And if you get hurt, next. We just going to get somebody else in here. Master Menelek says, what Akilo just described made me think of a pickup game of basketball. Everybody plays a position they were selected for. And I think he says, and the hating starts. I think that's what that says. Is that what that says, Akilo? And the hating starts.
I thought singing starts.
Oh, I thought he was saying he was hating. That's what I thought that said. Nah. All right, cool.
I wonder where you can come up with a song for this one. Well, he just said, what song can you?
He said, man, my people ain't traded no damn salt. Now top ramen and haircuts all day.
Yeah, I bet they, man. But I already know what he probably talking about. I'm like, yeah. My people did too. Well.
Man. Of course, it was illegal in some countries under the crown to produce salt without permission of the monarch.
Yeah, from the sea. Yeah.
Man. G says, true, if they knew how expendable they were, they would stop making. Buying a house for my mama, the first thing they do. You ain't lying. But it's that I think that even goes back to that last time we was on here, which is that poverty mindset of somebody telling you this is what it means to be successful. And now that goes back to even the beginning of what we even opened up with when Chief asked that question: is the truth? Can you be liberated from the truth? I mean, you could still. So, can you be liberated? And I almost take that in the sense of when these cats get a lot of money, and they feel like now, can I? Was that the question? Can the truth be make you? What was the question?
Can we deliberate the truth, and
Let me make sure I got this
can
right.
we
Hold
take liberties
on.
from the truth?
Here we go. Does that mean we take liberty from the truth? We take liberty from the truth. Yes, you can. See, this is why I say yes, you can take liberty from the truth. Because if you have the truth and then now you free yourself in between your two ears, then you can take liberty from that.
I feel
now
like liberty is a given. If you taking something, it's like taking I don't know. I get confused.
I mean, because there's certain areas, there's certain places that we can't go.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things that we can't do. Mm-hmm. So technically, we don't have the liberty. Like even I want to say, what was it? When people say I know my rights, right? And I want to say it was, I don't know who said it, but it was like just the fact that you had what is it? What was it? What they write for black folks, man? I can't even think of it right now. It was like in 1960 something.
Civil rights.
Civil rights. There we go. Like, what you call that thing? What you call them? Like, that's it.
Civil Rights Act, Great Society, Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ.
But one of the things that it said is just for the simple fact that you have that tells you that the Constitution was never written for you in the first place, right? So now, even if somebody says I have these liberties, do you really have those liberties? Seeing that the chain of events that came behind it. So now, what really is the truth? And one is deliberating from the truth. Now, can you take a liberty from that? I would say yes.
Here I am thinking, wouldn't that give you freedom? I don't know. When I think of liberty, I think somebody has to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Are you constantly giving liberty? You know what I'm saying? Is the truth constantly giving you liberty? I don't see. My mind's going somewhere else. You know, when I think of truth, it's like, okay, I got the truth. Now I'm free. You know, I take the liberties. You know, but I'm not taking the liberties from the truth. I'm taking liberties from something else that's more, I don't know, earthly. I don't know.
All right, there we go. Yeah, she says, here we go. Why is this thing doing? I swear to goodness, this thing has a mind of its own. Here we go. When you something, you reverse it or remove that thing. Liberate from librare to free. Okay. All right, here we go. If I deliberate the truth that was free in my psyche, I cage for a time. It is so that I can slowly consider it. Or deliberate it to slowly consider something.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Right.
Take this other. Okay.
Yeah. But if you deliberate it to slowly consider it, then you can take liberation from it. No? Oh, whoa. Deliberate. Okay, I'm a little moving slow. I'm moving slow. I'm moving slow.
It's okay. We on that bus together. I'm headed in. This my bus buddy right here. And his name's Zach.
Okay, he said so. Deliberating is locking it up long enough to think about it. All right. Okay, I'm walking with you. I'm walking with you. I'm walking. While to turn the corner. Oh man. All right. Let me just get back to the reading. I think there's one more line in here, and I lost it. These gadgets and gadgets, one they got minds of it. It's how, all right, and
It
how don't
should
want
be
to act right. All right, how saying
craftsmen
no.
can exist among Anu, but should only for one generation.
Where you see that at?
That's the last line. I can say.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's only
Craftsmen
two
can
sentences.
exist among our new, but should only for one generation. Well, hold on. Before we go on to that, we don't want to finish this one out. Like right now, y'all are repeating things and slowing down the convo to deliberate on what you are reading and expressing. What people don't understand, they tend to want to control because it's empowerment. That's like that. It makes me think of that. People say I would rather. Some people's psyche is built on controlling other people and other things, and if I can't control it, I don't want anything to do with it.
Movie example: Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. Remember, they trying to control things that were already done away with.
Yeah.
And even in that scene where he's talking to Dr. Sadler, he said, when we take control in here, and she said, you never had control. That was the illusion. Because he was focusing on getting control back, controlling these things again, controlling this part or bringing these things into fruition so they can control it. But they didn't have control over that. That was the illusion. But they didn't understand that to begin with. Because even, what's that character? Y'all did these things, but did y'all ever think that y'all should have done it? Y'all didn't think of should you or should you not do it? I just thought about the control.
All right. So do people have control over their own life?
The question would be, do they even want to control their own lives?
It's easier to be a cog in the machine. It's easier to be a craftsman being at the bottom. So now I don't have to be accountable.
I don't know. Oh man, I don't know. Cause what do we mean by craftsmen? I mean, because the way you saying it is, you're equating a crafts person with a laborer, but a crafts person knows a skill that he can take wherever.
Right, but I would look like you. Some people say craftsmen, like craft services, right? So now I'm the one serving food. At some point, somebody above that person is the one putting all of the things in place to make somebody. Now I have to show up to be the one that's doing all of the grunt work. Going back to I'm the one doing all of the work while somebody else can sit back and work on other things, but then still take a percentage of whatever it is that I'm doing.
Okay, I see that.
At least that's how I'm looking at it. Now, if you ain't looking at it like that, then let me know.
No, I can look at it that way. You said it real good, bro. Because then I was thinking of 360 deal. Take a percentage, something like that, or scamming. The scam. Yeah.
So Chief says, so then can we ever truly deliberate truth? I think I would say yes, because it's almost like bringing things, you can't stop it, but you can slow it down, at least to the best of one's ability, to try to observe it, to wrestle with, so you can pull and extract what you think to the best of one's ability. Now, some people can slow it down, better than others. So just like Chief can break down something a whole lot better or explain it a whole lot better than I can, so that one can now examine something, whereas some people like, I don't know what that is. At least
Why
I
is the
would say.
sky blue?
Right, but some
Slow
people
it down.
can now, they have, but just like I said, he's the king of examples, right? So now I can make this something that may be very complex, that some people will sit there and just go back and forth about, look at it like, and then he'll come in and be like, look at it like this, Jack, like boom, 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 boom. Now I'm gonna slow this down enough where now you're able to, a light can go off and be like, I get it, I see, says the blind mice.
See how they rhyme.
So he says, nah, there's no control over your own life, because life is no more yours than truth is. Which is interesting, because people always be like, when they used to, I remember when we used to talk about Reese's and stuff, we like, oh, Reese's, does the Reese's work for people who are non-colored, non-melanated? And it's like, you don't own that truth, like that'll work. I think, and one of the examples, he was like, it's like a microphone. You can get up and bust a freestyle, like Hitler can get up there and bust a freestyle with that microphone, right? You don't own that. Like, oh, that microphone only gonna work for me. Nah, it don't work like that, homeboy. It says, my life is as silly as saying my truth. That just means you have fell into an egoic delusion. Come on with it, Chief. Says, right, you can perceptually slow it down, just as we slow down the breath of life into the slow form of a physical three-dimensional body. Come with it. In my best Sovereignty's voice. This is true. This is true. Yeah, because I remember even it was in the focus. I want to say that's what it was. Bringing things to a stasis is what he. So taking things from like a solid to a liquid to a gas, and having them all in different states, where now you can freeze something, and being able to examine that gas going from the liquid going to a solid, but then it's going to go back, into a cycle again. So even when he says, right, you can perceptually slow it down, just as slow from a physical three-dimensional body. Even I'm looking at this three different layers of that solid, liquid, gas. So now I'm gonna bring things into a solid, so I'm able to examine it, so I'm able to observe it, so I'm able to deliberate on it, and then, but ultimately, it's not gonna stay like that. And understanding is like the circle or the cog of life. Whereas one can sit on top of the wheel and one can be on bottom of the wheel, but then some people try to crystallize themselves in certain areas of that, not knowing that that wheel is just going to start spinning again. So now, in order to study it, learn it, observe it, but then understand that it's going to still keep moving. And then that's where now that entrepreneur will come in and say, okay, where does this wheel start to move to? Or where does it start, what direction it is, to make sure that everybody else doesn't have to keep going from the bottom, but at least has a level of part that they can start from that doesn't put them in the pit where everybody else had to start.
Okay.
That's what I got from it. What you got? You got anything, Akilo? Before we
Well, I was just thinking, as we slow down the breath of life into, slow form of a physical dimensional body. But here I am like, okay, now, what does that look like? Like, how do you slow down the breath of life? What does it look like? Ever seen it? I'm thinking about that. Like, that's a good, yeah, slow down. I mean, yeah, how do you slow down to get this? Like.
Here we go. I got a movie example. Take a guess.
Look who's talking. No,
What?
you say you got a movie example. Here I am thinking about how do you get, breath of life. And then I was thinking, I bet you gonna say, look who's talking. You ain't gonna say, look who's talking. I mean, it does show the actual, you know what? Forget it, Zach. Maybe.
Here we go. Come with it, Chief.
Okay, the Matrix. I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about physical form and get it.
But it's like, in a sense, like when you slow it down, when my man put his hand up and he started, them bullets. Remember that piece?
Oh, yeah.
And slowing it down, but in a sense of when I look at slowing things down, it's almost like seeing the codes of program responses that some people give to not want to be accountable. So even when I hear Chief, when he be like going back to old Enlightenment transformations with like, and they were like, well, let me tell you some more of the story.
Wait.
Right? I'm trying to shoot these bullets and these darts at you. Drop it. Right? Because it's not going to work. And I see these bullets coming at me, and I'm gonna slow it down. Well, I've been studying it, and I can observe it, so I can see these things coming from a mile away. So before it even gets here, I'm gonna stop you there, so you can now be accountable for what you're talking about. It says, this makes me think about how freedom must be present throughout this whole process, just like how the vision and plan of the business must be maintained as well. All right. Why look who's talking, Lo? Where you get that from?
Hey. Well, probably because of, the beginning of the day. Well, forget it. And then I thought, oh well, all of a sudden you got, you actually see the process, and then you have, the then all of a sudden you got the kid talking to, like, oh, I got 4. Well, I want to do what these do, forget it. I'm wrong. I went way too, forget it. Way too much. Way too much.
Or it makes me think of that. Even there was another segment that was done that was like, he's like, I'm a condensed being, you're a condensed being, but some others. But now it's almost like trying to take a gaseous form and like a cloud and saying that it's now going to stop a car. Both of them now, and some people have slowed things down to the sense that now they like they say you walking heavy, right? One when it's that you walking with wisdom, you heavy, it's on you, it's dripping from you. Whereas one might be light, but they don't see that because they haven't done the work in order to gain that true wisdom to now have themselves deliberate the truth that they can take away from that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna roll with. So Chief says, how do you get ice from water? How do you get honey from pollen? How do we get rain from clouds? How do you get ice from water is putting it to a 32-degree temperature and slowing it down, condensing it. So you got all of these gas, the water that's all in different molecules, but then once you slow it down, it'll condense it and tighten up. Don't things expand and break when you start to even like if you put water into and froze it in a board, doesn't it expand?
In a board?
Yeah, like if you had a board, like a wooden board or something, and you put water in it and you froze it, wouldn't it make the board expand, or does it condense?
How would the board expand and condense because it has water on it?
Because the water then expands in the wood. No, when it freezes. Am I just making that up? I could have swore. Maybe I'm looking at that backwards.
I've never seen that happen. I don't know. I mean, you put water in a sponge and it expands. But I've never heard put a water on wood. It freezes it and it expands. I ain't never heard that one before. Maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe that's the science I don't know.
Nah, that wasn't my top subject.
That's the science I know.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Chief. He said, yes, water does expand when it freezes. And when the board absorbs the humidity, it can expand.
Okay.
Thank you.
I ain't had that science project, so I didn't know.
All right, so she says, freedom, just like vision, is only very ever present in the mind. Freedom and actual vision exists nowhere else but on the mental plane. The lower form of freedom is liberty. So that's like then can we look at that in a sense, Akilo, like the mind and the brain? And even in the beginning, when on the old Enlightenment transformation segments, it says the universe is mental, so can the universe learn something? So as the universe expands, so should one's brain start to expand, because now one is starting to add and learn as they come down here. No, that's like there was an example we gave where it was talking about how, if one was a master pianist or a violinist or something of that nature, and how do you start to now expand yourself or grow if you are at the top of your game? Well, then one now would tie one hand behind their back in order to now figure out how to play this piano or play this, just in essence, what adversity one would start to now put themselves through in order to now expand and grow. So in a sense, what I'm gathering from is, where was I going with that? And that vision exists nowhere else but on the mental plane, the lower form. So, right. So then now one can, and this is, I don't know where I was going with that. Throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. I added something, man. I lost it. Whatever. It'll come back to me later. Cycles, but is it coming from, or is it the same thing as in different form? All things must change state in this reality at some point. Form, more specifically, all things in this reality. She says all things in this reality are not things at all. They are forces. Forces are always in a state of change, which is how we know they have measurable force. Which starts to tell you some people respect all things. Now that makes me think of that movie Avatar. I was like, man, it's just a tree. Like, just take the tree and move it somewhere else. Nah, man, it's a force. Now, yes, things change, but you're looking at it more of a life force than as just a thing. A thing now is just like, I don't have any respect for this thing. There's a bunch of these things, whereas somebody's force is life that's going through it. And when they would connect their dreads to it, then that life force would start to speak through them. At least that's how I would look at that. All right. This is how we get floating icebergs. It's expansion that causes it to float on the water surface. Thank you. We were struggling a little bit.
Yeah, because that's actual water. That's not a board. So I was like, let me see. I know iceberg. You can do that, but
that's all right. Look at this. Albert Cruz said the board swelled. Come on, Albert Cruz, come through now. Front doors experience it on the island. All right, so Chief said the brain expansion forces the expansion of the universe. Brain expansion forces the expansion of the universe. See, but then that goes, don't they have that saying where there's nothing new under the sun? So there's nothing that you're going to try to come up with that hasn't already been done?
The thing is that It's a human experience. How do you know that there's nothing new under the sun? Do you even know that? Like Chief say, do you even know if the sun you're looking at is the actual sun, or like with the
Oh,
moon? You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And what is revolving around what?
Yeah.
Right, right. That's the slower, more dense matter expanding the faster and less dense, like water does in a water balloon. That's the slower, more dense matter expanding the faster and less dense, like water does in a water balloon. So when you put the water,
Yeah, you ever put a water balloon, when it's not,
yeah,
you know, and then you just turn on the faucet and then you just see, and then you just hold the bottom and, you know.
yeah, that's the slower, more dense matter. I got it. Ice cubes floating in my mason jar. King Cobra. Uh, Ross says, is the viewing of material objects as a force the beginning of ordering the creative mind? When looking at a force, it leads you to ask, what force exactly? I don't know what you're asking, man. Straight up. I don't. Do you have it, Lo? Maybe. All right. Cruz says, this puts me in mind of your lecture, The 14 Keys, Chief. Your description of God to the crowd was supported by the visual of, as we get older, our view of God changes based on our thoughts and needs. All right. All right, cool. I think we got everything and we've kind of finished. Is there anything that you would like to conclude on, Akilo, before we close out?
Hmm. Look at me deliberating.
Slow it down. Slow it down.
Slow it down. Slow it down. Um. No, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
All right, cool. Chief says, Rod, just replace the word thing with force in your vernacular and it will begin to make sense. So there you go. Cruz says there's new things under the sun, new gods. And Chief says, yeah, I want to conclude how Menelec, Ra, and Cruz held down the chat for the brothers.
For
Absolutely.
sure,
Give
man.
thanks,
For
man.
sure. Give thanks for that, man.
Absolutely.
Don't come
Give
out.
thanks. Um, for coming through and your responses and vibing.
Mm-hmm.
And until we do this again, man, I guess my main thing is as we deliberate on this, there's a thing, man, take your time to hurry up. You're 21 today, you're going to be gone tomorrow. And it goes like this. So what are you going to do with this opportunity that we have here? Are you going to take the time and the opportunity to deliberate and actually give and expand so that you can start to grow? Or do you just sit back and do absolutely nothing and just take and take, but think that you're actually learning and you're not really growing, and you're not really expanding? You're going to waste the time. You're going to barbecue or you're going to mildew. That's really what it all comes down to. All right. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
And
shalom.
we will see you on Clubhouse on Sunday. All right. Yeah. Peace.
Peace.